And I'm gonna live.
I'm lying now.
And I'm gonna live.
Overflow.
I wanna be living.
Y'all ready to get to it? Y'all ready to get to it?
And I'm gonna live. Come on, speak this thing into existence. Let's go. I wanna be living. I gotta be living. And I'm gonna live.
Now I gotta go that over. What? I wanna be living. What we living in? In the overflow.
Your blessings is on
I wanna be blessed when it come, blessed when I go.
Don't you wanna live in the overflow?
I want heaven right here on earth.
Right here on earth. Blessed when I come, blessed when I go. Don't you wanna live in the overflow?
All right. That's it, y'all. That's it, y'all. That song is called Overflow by yours truly. And you can get it on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, CD, baby. You can get that song. Gary, come on, y'all. Y'all make me rich, man. Y'all gonna get that song, make me rich, man. But we can blow up. But anyway, y'all, welcome to Overflow, the Everyday People Show. The show where folks like who? Me and you get to come on in. Chop it up. Welcome, y'all. Tuesday, 7 o'clock, another Tuesday, y'all. That's how we do it. Today, y'all, we got a hot topic. It's a sobering topic. It's a topic that a lot of people go through, but they really kind of like hide it. A lot of black men suffering from it. Yeah, y'all, we talking about depression and suicide, y'all. What's causing this thing, y'all? Why is it so hard for black men, especially, to talk about this thing, man? And people are just dying at a alarming rate, man, because they don't have an outlet. They don't have that outlet to go to express how they're feeling. So we keep it all bottled in, man. We keep it all bottled in, and we don't know how to handle it, man. Depression and suicide. We're gonna talk about that today. We're gonna find out a lot about what's going on, man. Hey, I don't know everything about it. I'm not a clinical technician in this. Hopefully, I can learn a lot about this today, and I hope y'all learn a lot about this today. But without further ado, let me bring my co-host in this thing today, man. What my boy at, man? Well, he sat out. He sat on the sideline last week. This week he's back. What's up, Charisma? What's going on, dog?
Brother?
You ready for this thing, man?
Yeah, man.
No, so I know I got some story to tell about this too myself, man. But I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna bring everybody else on in, man. I'm bringing everybody else on in, man. Hey, we got a special guest too, man. But my boy from Tulsa, Oklahoma, gonna sit in this thing tonight.
Coming in again?
TV, what's up, man?
What's happening, man?
What's going on with your TV?
What's going on?
You good?
Jose, my brother.
Hey, you tagged Oklahoma with this post, didn't you?
No, I didn't get a chance to. My page,
you better get on it, doggone it. Get on it, doggone it. You better get on it, bro. Get on it, bro.
Okay, I'm gonna go
get on
back
it.
out. I'm gonna go back
No,
out.
yo, you can go when you're on your phone.
I can.
Yeah, just go to your phone and hit share. Go to my page. You'll see it live on there. And just hit share.
Yeah, I know that much. I didn't know. I thought I'd be off the broadcast to do that.
No, what you listen to it on? Your phone or your computer?
Yeah, on my phone.
Well, go to it then. Will you come back?
Okay. I mean, I didn't want to lose my spot.
All right, man. Let me get this boy Jermaine, man. Jermaine in this thing, man. What's up, Jermaine? What's going on, big dog?
What's happening?
Yeah,
there go my boy Charisma, the birthday boy. What's happening?
Who the birthday boy is? Oh yeah, the birthday boy.
Belated, yeah.
Belated birthday, yeah.
Thank y'all, man.
Yeah, man.
I went on Facebook. I told everybody to send me $3 of cash. That's all I wanted was
$3.
Well,
Did you get
400? I got 400 birthday likes, and they just ignored the cash app.
Hey, that's how they do.
Both those for nothing.
All right, man. Let me introduce this dude right here, man. The dude, he done took over my Facebook page, man. You go down. Hey, I went down my
I know
Facebook
exactly
page.
what
Yeah, I went down my Facebook page. All I see is him on it. I said,
Me too.
I
Mine
said,
too. Mine is taking over too. It's the invasion of Zayman.
Hey, what's up, Fitz? What's going on, man?
What up, y'all?
But he be saying some real stuff though, man. What's going on with you, bro?
What up,
Doing
homeboy?
all right, man?
What up, fellas?
What up, Jay?
Y'all ready to talk about this topic right here, man?
Yeah.
Because this thing right here it's a real topic, man. A lot of people don't really know if they are depressed, man. Because I can remember a time when I was like, it's been like 15 years ago, and I was in a place, man, and I called my mom and I asked her, say a prayer or something for me, man, because I was, what I'm saying, I was going through some stuff, and I didn't know what it was, but I just knew. But luckily, I had my faith to fall back on. But unfortunately, a lot of people aren't faithful, aren't into faith. So what do they do when they get in a depressed state of mind? You know what I'm saying? Like I say, luckily for me, I had my faith to fall back on, and I grinded it out until things, came back. You know what I'm saying? But that's just my story. But a lot of people got a lot of stories out here, man. They don't have that faith to fall back on. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Luckily for me, I had my faith to fall back on, and So let's get into it, man. So let's go. Let's chop it up. Come on, man. What you? Charisma?
Yeah, I can speak on that, man. Well, a lot of people don't know. Yeah, on the low, man. I still deal from that. I still deal with that on the low. I just try to, I guess I shroud it. I kind of hide it, with just shopping. I shop, or I do other stuff. I shop or I play my game, or I skate. Do something different to try to hide it. Read my books. That's about it.
And ironically, this month, September, is Suicide Prevention Month.
Right.
In case y'all didn't know it, it was brought to my attention by a friend, because I was just going to talk about depression, but then they kind of like go hand in hand in a way, you know what I'm saying? I lost
3 friends from it, so I know suicide from firsthand experience.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of it, what Charisma was saying is, he say he bottles it up, or he finds other outlets to kind of get through it. But as men, let's maybe take the black part out of it. Just as men, we've been socialized as little kids to hold everything in. Hey, be a man, tough it out, man up. You fall on the ground, man up, toughen up, don't cry. We've been socialized to, hold that stuff in. And then you add the component of being black in America, and you're a black man, and then you having to, stand tall, hold stuff in, be the protector of your family, of your wife, of your kids, shouldering a whole lot of stuff. And, I think it's a stigma of, with black people in general, that we just don't like to talk to nobody about our issue. I've talked to, people about stuff professionals about stuff that I've been going through and things like that. And it helps to get it out, because you hold that stuff in, man, and you never know when it's just going to boil over and it's going to be too much. You have to get that stuff out, man. And a lot of people, with the, the suicide and depression, I think I'm not an expert, but this is just, my experience and what I see, they want to look externally for happiness and try to find external things to make you happy. But no, you got to start from the inside. Everything starts from the inside. You create your narrative, you create your happiness. And a lot of people try to find external stuff in relationships, in, video games, whatever it is, to escape it. You know what I'm saying? But you got to always look internally first. That's the first one.
Facts.
All right. TB, what's up, man?
What's happening, man?
What's going on? You were telling me about some things of some
Oh yeah, well, yeah, locally, here in Tulsa, within our community within the last 3 weeks, The cats are younger than I am, but two of them then killed themselves from, suicide, you know what I mean? So, but I just want to add also, with depression, man, it's real. And that if you look at it, man, depression drives us a lot of places. And most of the people that are homeless today, it started from depression. All that they suffered, it drove them to where they are. Like, a few of you guys were just saying, different avenues. I know, hell, I might have been depressed yesterday about some issues, but it didn't drive me to no suicide. I had an outlet though, you know what I mean? We got to find that, common denominator within ourselves, to bring us around,
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of folk don't have that outlet, man.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? So they think the last option is the best option. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So and that's a sad state right there.
Yeah, it is. And it really got the town shook up too. Tulsa ain't a major spot, but enough people know each other, and my timeline was full of what took place. I just couldn't believe it. They don't know if it was a copycat type deal. You know what I mean? And you got to realize both of them some young cats, and I heard tell that they they had issues with their mother. You know what I mean? So I don't know how true that is, but that's been one of the main topics coming down my timeline about it, that they was having issues, dealing with things, between their mom and they might have fell off, and they're not getting a helping hand, that who gave them birth. So like the cat said earlier, we all taught we man up, you know what I mean? So I guess they was looking to man up the best way they could. And they checked on out of her, man. They did the Harry Carey.
Let me play this quick video. I don't know if y'all heard this guy, not Jeff Nation, Jeff Johnson.
Hey, I don't know if you
he tells a story about it on.
Is National Suicide Prevention Month, and in the Black community, we're seeing suicide attempts go up, especially with young people and Black men. And this is personal for me. My grandfather committed suicide when I was 7 years old, and what's crazy, y'all, nobody told me it was suicide until I was in my 20s, and it was by somebody on the other side of the family. And so there was shame in our family, and we brushed it under the rug, and we didn't talk about it. And I don't know why. My grandfather was a crazy, proud Black man who went blind late in life, and as a result, I think felt useless and hopeless and took his life. But I don't think less of him because of that. I recognize that we weren't talking about behavioral health and emotional awareness and therapy for Black men at that time. You had to suck it up and be a damn man. And I want to change that. And so this month, we're going to talk about this stuff in a different way with Men Thrive. Because listen, you're not weak because you got issues. You're not weak because you talk about issues. You actually find strength in dealing with those issues and not feeling like you got to deal with them by yourself. That is where the ultimate power lies. And so my hope is that your family won't have to deal with what my family did, not because we perfect and we got to figure it out, but because we're willing to address the stuff Black men are dealing with, and we're willing to provide Black men with the support that they need to be their strongest self and showing up for themselves. And so check us out all month with Men Thrive as we're talking about this and other issues where we're helping Black men show up with the ultimate amount of power, because fuck surviving. We want to thrive.
So yeah, let me bring another guest in here, man. I got my boy DVP from the DVP show. What's going on, man? Hey, man, you hear me? You there? He's sitting in the dog over there. Y'all see him?
Everything.
I guess
all right over there?
I guess eventually he gonna say something.
Look like he's head decapitated.
So Fitz, what's up, man?
There he is. There we go.
Hey, man, what you had to take a bathroom break, man? Hey, there you go. There you go. What's up, brother?
What's up, player? What's up, player?
I don't know. Yeah, so we talking about depression and suicide, man. This month is September Suicide Prevention Month, man. A lot of people, a lot of guys got some ghosts in the closet, man, that they afraid to share and stuff like that. And I think this would be an opportunity for people to kind of like share some light. We all go through stuff, man, and I think a lot of guys don't understand that. They think that when they go through something, they the only one going through it. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of stuff that we go through, a lot of people don't already been through it and experienced it. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, with me, I had my spiritual background to kind of like help me out a little bit with what I was going through. You know what I'm saying? Back in the days, you know, I didn't know myself. Now I know that I probably was depressed and didn't even know it.
Well, let me say this. I don't think it's that we scared of it or anything like that. We just know what people say. We know the whole phrase, man. We know the phrase, quit playing. We know the phrase, I wish I had your life. I can tell you because I was diagnosed with clinical depression and nobody knew. Because no matter how real we say we are, the best thing that people who suffer from serious depression do, they are the best liars on the planet. They will never, ever let you know that something is going wrong with them.
Right.
And when I see all these posts about, oh, if you're feeling some kind of way, call me, yada, yada, yada. And I hate them because as somebody, I have no, for the longest, I was ashamed to admit I had depression. And I was ashamed because nobody would ever believe me. Everybody thought DVP had it going on. You got the women, you got the job, you got the cash, you got this. Oh man, I wish but you don't understand. I'm living a total lie. I go to bed thinking about dying. I wake up thinking about dying. I'm thinking, who really cares? And everybody's saying, oh man, all you got to do is call me. When you tell me I got to call you, you prove my point. I ain't even worth getting a phone call from you. You want me to reach out to you. And every time I see that post where people say, oh, if you ever feel like this, call me. Depressed people do not make phone calls. What they will do is put out a cryptic tweet, a cryptic post. And everybody will say, damn, I didn't even know because you waiting on me to call you. I already feel like my life ain't worth shit. I already feel like don't nobody care. And when you tell me to call you, you validate that don't nobody care. Because why you can't call me and check on me? Why you can't call and say, hey, what's up, bro? Why you can't shoot me a text? I know 5 people who committed suicide. I knew them. And when I look back at their Facebook page, all of them had a note before they did it. All of them. Right there for all their friends and family to see. And you know what you see up under the note? Oh, call me, sis, if you need me. Call me home if you need me. But ain't now one of them reached out that saw this cryptic note from somebody that they call friend. Ain't now one of them reached out to make a phone call. That is sad. If you see something from somebody who you know and you see them being sad, why the fuck they got to reach out to you? Why don't you call them and say, hey, you know, what do friends do? I'm going to just pick on my man right here, If I see him put out a post where it's like that, I'm going to be like, yo, bro, I'm on my way over there. You know what that tell him? That tell him somebody cares. See, he can't bullshit me over the phone now because I'm finna be in his face. And then we going to sit there and talk like men. And now he knows somebody care because somebody done put forth the effort as opposed to, you know, him got to look on Facebook talking about, yo, man, call me. What you don't call me for? Because as men, we don't want to call with tears, and because we ain't never been taught how to console each other. The first thing we're gonna do is like, hey man, you want to go to the strip club? Hey man, you want to get a drink? You want to smoke some weed? But we don't address the problem. We smooth over it real quick with a little antidote, you know, with a little drug, but we don't fix the problem.
Right. That's right.
Well, piggybacking off what he said, well, hopefully, you know what I'm saying, we can, this show, we can kind of like help people be able to reach out to other people who they think having a problem. You know what I'm saying? Because I had a guy just last week, you know, post something on Facebook. He tired of this life, and you know what I'm saying. People try to post other stuff to try to cheer him up, but he might be in a place where he might be feeling what he was feeling. Because I had a friend before who took his life. You know what I'm saying? And leading up to it, he had been saying in the last 2 weeks that he was going to do something. He was going to do something like that. Until eventually he did it, and it kind of like woke everybody saying, hey, that dude, you know what I'm saying? He was serious about what he was talking about. You know, but let me bring him back in. He got kind of cut himself off, man. You back, DVD?
Yeah, I don't know what happened just then. My bad. But yeah, we don't know how to console each other. We were never taught that. If Fuquan is hurting, I'm supposed to punch him and tell him to man up, be strong, be this, be that. He can't cry on my shoulder because now I don't know what to do. Now I'm in panic mode. So I would say as black men, more times than not, we actually avoid dudes that we think depressed because we don't want to let them know that we don't know what the hell to do. You don't want to get drunk. You don't want to go have sex. You don't want to go to the strip club. I just want somebody to talk to. And we swear we good listeners, but for real, what do we do when somebody pulling our heartstrings and they make us start tearing up? We don't want to have that conversation. We don't want to sit there and cry as grown men. If it ain't somebody who died in the family, we don't want to have that conversation. When we not prepared for that. To all of us be crying and brothers in arms. We talk a good game, but as a whole, we ain't prepared for that conversation.
But what's gonna get us prepared? What channels we have to take, for us to realize that, we got to be prepared for what's gonna prepare us, man.
We got to start. We got to start. First of all, we got to drop the egotistical phrases. Man up, it's gonna be better. Dude, when you hit that truly depressed stage, and death is your only thought, it ain't gonna never get better. And when people keep telling you it's gonna get better, they telling you, fuck you in your thought process. We don't give a shit what you think. I'm telling you how you feel. And we gotta stop that. We gotta let people talk, and we gotta sit down and pull out the punk card. And if a man wanna cry, don't be afraid to cry with him. Shit, we don't all had these moments, but we don't want nobody to see us weak, because that's what we relate tears to. Unless our parents or kids die, whenever you see a man crying, he weak, he this. But shit, you don't know what he's going through. You don't know how hard it is. You don't, like I said, when I was going through mine, and I can point to specific things when I finally got help, and she pointed out some light things that I did, I was like, damn, I'm sitting here I wasn't suicidal, but I wanted to die. So I put myself in positions to get hurt. And I'm like, damn. Now look at Robert. Hell, I'm thinking God don't even like me. I want to die and I can't even I'm put myself in a situation and I'm still winning. I don't see the good in that. I see me being punished. So it's like, man, this all is nothing. But who can you tell?
Yeah.
I tell, I'm just gonna pick on you, Robert. Now I said, damn, Rob, this like this. Robert gonna say the same thing. We played football together, man. Then you got this, you got that. Everybody look at what they think you got and how happy you appear to be, because depressed people lie on a regular basis. I ain't now one of them keeping it 100. We all lie, so we don't have to answer that question of what's wrong. We always trying to do something so that people don't see us being weak. I got a poetry piece, and the guy said, I hide my tears from the crowd by smiling. It's like, that's what you do. You like when it rains, because now you can go outside and stand in the rain and you can cry, and don't nobody know you crying because it's raining. I love the rain. I could just sit there and cry like a baby and wouldn't nobody bother me. So and that's just one of the things. But to answer your question, bro, we gotta stop following cliches. Call on each other. Call and check on the brother. If he ain't sounding the way he's supposed to sound, do a drive-by. Pull up on him.
Yeah.
Don't shoot him. Don't shoot him at the time. Call me if you feel like talking. It ain't gonna. I can say with most, it is not gonna happen. We are not gonna call you because we don't want you to have voice cracking. We don't want to have to be honest in that point and open up.
Exactly.
Once you're in our face, though, we gonna do it because now I feel like you care. But if a phone call is off, I gotta call you. It's not gonna happen.
I think we have to start, and I said it earlier. It's an inside job. It ain't an outside job. And the one thing we have to realize is that hurt people can't help people. So if I'm hurting, how can I help you if I'm hurting? So we all have to address our own individual hurt first. So before I can even give you some good advice, I have to deal with my trauma. I have to deal with my past trauma and the things I'm dealing with, because I can't handle your trauma and my trauma on top of that. Now we both in a bad situation. So I think the like I said, the stigma is not, man, seek that help. There's professionals out here that you can call. I did a Zoom with a psychologist, just to talk through some issues that I was going through maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And man, it really helped me out a lot. So we just have to not be afraid to open up and express, because we've been conditioned to not express our emotions, not express, things that's going on, as far as what's going on in our life and stuff like that. So that's one way we can start to do that.
Well, and you know, and I don't want to hog this conversation. It's just when he said, I knew I was gonna make time for it. The biggest thing we got to do is we got to accept our ignorance and admit that we just don't know, and we got to start learning about it. We got to start learning to look at stuff. We got to learn, and when we talk to each other, we got to learn what voices and what moods somebody should be in. But we so afraid because we know everything. Our ignorance is what's harming us. When dudes don't understand, and I love my mama. She did a great job. Women handle us differently when we're depressed. But even those of us who were just in single parent home, at some point our mama still told us to man up, and that's what we learned to do. So this is behavior. At some point, you know, when my son was going through a moment, because I go through mine, I was able to sit down and we was able to talk. Dude, just, you know, spit it out. And slowly but surely he went on ahead and let it out. He's like, no, Dad, I can't cry. And I was like, why you can't cry? He said, because then I won't be a real man. But what does one have to do with the other one? But, you know, when I told him some of my stories, then boom, we knocked that barrier down. But we stay so strong to that. We cry when we lose a damn football game. We cry with other stuff, but we can't cry when we got a personal issue because now I'm weak. Now Robert gonna try to take advantage of me. And if that's the thought process we gotta have, we gotta change our circles. But we just gotta do better and not be afraid to have uncomfortable conversations. Not be afraid to admit when old girl left me, she broke my heart. I wasn't depressed, I was sad, and people keep confusing the two. We all have moments of depression, but they not real a state of when I was depressed shit. I was probably depressed 20 hours a day. My drug of choice was sex, and I look back at it because I was afraid of drugs and I didn't like drinking because I grew up around a bunch of alcoholics. So I was having tons of sex and didn't know why, but it was the same thing. For a moment, it took me out of being so depressed because I had something else to think about. But when the sex was over with, the depression came right back. Bam! It was still there, and it wasn't no different than drinking or smoking. It was just cheaper. That was the only difference in what I was doing versus what other people may do.
So you was paying for it?
No. You know,
Okay.
I was about to say, where you getting your sex in?
Yeah, I know.
Where you getting yours from? Okay, bro.
But
Yeah,
because of what I was doing, everybody thought I had it going on, and women gravitated to the power they assumed that I had. So it was never a lack of that. So it was just like
flossing the jewels. You was flossing the jewels.
No, he a cop, man. He an ex-cop.
I was a cop and a bodyguard, and I did security. So, you know, I was the dude that if you want to get in the club, I'm the dude you're going to get to know. I had so much access to everything, and then I wore suits all the time. So, you know, women love a little bit of power. But everybody was fooled by the clown suit I had on. None of that was me. None of it was me. But everybody thought they wanted a part of it, and I used to think, hell, I wish I would kill yourself and take this shit off me. I don't mind giving this to my worst enemy. I don't want to be depressed no more. But it was 20 hours a day. I would think about ways to die easily.
Oh, DP,
living a facade.
And most of it, and I think when we say we want to die, I think that's the way we say we want to die when we're reaching out, because that kind of like supposed to get your attention. Like I said, one of my homeboy, he posted something on Facebook. They like I'm tired of being here. Like that's his way of saying I need help. I don't think he really want to die, but if he don't get the help, something gonna talk him to it into doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
but you know, but I never put it out there because I was putting myself in position. Like I said, I wasn't gonna commit suicide.
Yeah,
but
exactly. Yeah.
Even when I played football with y'all, I was going through depression, but nobody knew. You know, when y'all see me in public, I'm jovial, I'm happy, I'm talking trash with y'all. Man, I'm sitting there. I know all the bad people who say if I run across a cop, I'm gonna kill him. I'm looking for them by myself, hoping that they can do what they said.
Oh,
you a punk. I thought all y'all was cop killers. What the fuck are y'all doing? Why y'all can't do what y'all said? Right. And like I say, it took a white woman to explain to me what was going wrong with me. I didn't know.
I'm glad you went to St. Louis.
Well, he talking about a while back, man.
Yeah, I think most cats too that try to commit suicide, they got it made up in their mind. I had a partner just made me think back over 25 years ago. He shot himself, but he didn't kill himself. Like 6 months later, man, found him hanging from a railroad track. You know, a bridge on a railroad track. You know, by the shooting didn't kill him. So their mind is made up, man. You know, they really do. When the people's mind is made up, like you didn't have a mind to kill yourself, but you had a mind to die when nobody kill you. You know?
I go for that theory. Like I lost
Yeah.
my I mean, I had no idea. We had no idea he wanted to kill himself. I mean, at all. This dude was like, he was just like he came to see me a couple of weeks before he did it. It was just he was just talking normal, like, hey man, I ain't seen you. It was just a cool thing. This man went home. His dad is disabled, so he just lay on the couch, like he can't really move, like right. So he came in, spoke to his dad, went straight to the back room, hung himself in the closet. His dad couldn't move, and he was back there for days. Dad still didn't even know this.
Let me play this video because a lot of time we talking about mostly like adults but we forget about the kids who have suicidal thoughts and all that too. Let me play this little short video right quick, man.
All my ups and downs, just like anybody else.
Maybe more than anybody else.
I can be hard to figure out.
And I like my privacy. I don't want you looking over my shoulder all the time.
But you know your kid better than anybody else. And if you think he's acting different than usual,
Acting really down, crying all the time for no good reason.
or getting really mad, not able to sleep, or sleeping too much,
Shutting her friends out or giving her stuff away.
acting reckless, drinking, using drugs, staying out late,
Suddenly not doing stuff he used to love.
or doing stuff that's just not like him.
It might be nothing to worry about. It might just be high school.
Or it might be something more. He might be depressed. Not just feeling down, really depressed.
It might be that your kid is thinking about killing himself. It happens. More than you think. More than it should.
And people say, I had no idea.
I thought it was just a phase he was going through.
I never thought she'd do it.
I wish he'd come to me.
I wish he'd said
I
something.
wish I'd said something.
When it's too late. So if you think your kid's acting different, if she seems like a different person, say something.
Say, what's wrong? How can I help?
And ask straight out. Are you thinking about killing yourself? It doesn't hurt to ask. In fact, it helps.
When people are thinking about killing themselves, they want somebody to ask. They want somebody to care.
Maybe you're afraid you'll make it worse if you ask. Like, you'll put the idea in their head.
Believe me, it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't hurt to ask. In fact, the best way to keep a teenager from killing herself is to ask, are you thinking about killing yourself?
And what if they say yes?
Or maybe.
Or sometimes,
Well, here's what you don't say.
that's crazy.
Don't be such a drama
You're
queen.
making too much of this.
That boy's not worth killing yourself over. That's not going to solve anything.
You're just trying to get attention.
You're not going to kill yourself. What you do say is,
I'm sorry you're feeling so bad. How can I help? We'll get through this together.
Let's keep you safe.
a lot of people think about killing themselves, adults and kids. Most of them never try it, but some of them do. So if your kid says,
I'd be better off dead. I can't live with this.
I'm gonna kill myself, take her seriously. Find someone you can talk to about it. Someone who knows how to help.
Sometimes kids want to kill themselves because something happened. A breakup, a failure. But sometimes it goes deeper, and it's not going to go away by itself. Get some help. Talk to your doctor.
Or a counselor at school.
Or your minister.
But don't just let it drop.
And make sure that your kid always has someone to turn to. Someone he trusts. Make a list together right then. 3, 4, 5 names.
Put a suicide hotline number on there too.
Have him keep that list in his wallet, so he always knows where to turn.
Make sure your home is safe. If you have pills she could use to hurt herself, lock them up.
If you have a gun, don't just lock it up. Get it out of the house. The bullets, too.
And one more thing. If you think your kid might be about to hurt himself, don't leave him alone.
Take him to the emergency room.
Call 911 if you have to.
We all have our ups and downs, but sometimes it's more than that.
If you think something's wrong, the only way to find out is to ask. Ask straight out. Are you thinking about killing yourself?
Don't wait until you're sure. Trust your gut, because it never hurts to ask.
And it can make a big difference. All the difference. In your kid's life.
Yeah, so we really never think about the kids, and we just think kids is just like carefree, and you know, like when we went to high school and stuff like that, I was like carefree, but today's kid, they got so much on their mind, man, and so much going on in the house, and man, they got the social media going on. They got bullies, social media bully. Man, we had like one guy we had to worry about in school. Now they got like real bullies and social media bullies, and it's a lot going on with these kids today, man. All kinds of drugs. We just had weed, and maybe I don't even know nobody did cocaine in elementary and high school. And maybe one or two guys, but now they got like so many pills and all. You know what I'm saying? There's so much going on.
I've been quiet. Because this is a subject that I can't really touch on. But after you played that video, I will say something. Depression with kids, I could say yes. Suicide with kids, no. I would say suicide with kids is going to be more so what they see on TV, what they hear, social media, things like that, because those numbers have went up because of that. I wouldn't, like I said, for me, the depression and suicide thing as far as the children is different because it's going to be what they hear at home, what they see and things like that. And I would suggest, especially if any of y'all got kids, you need to watch that documentary on Netflix called The Social Dilemma. It will blow your fucking mind. I am dead serious. I watched it 2 nights ago and I finished it last night. It's definitely worth it. And I don't want to give you the insight, but if the name of it, if part of the name is social, you understand where it's going to take it. But it's going to speak on children, and you're going to see why I said what I said. Because, even with what you said, Rob, a few seconds ago. Oh, believe me, everything was there when we was kids. Pills, all that. Because I know family members who told me about the pills back in the day. It was around. It's just about, once again, what do you see and where's your willpower if you're going to do it or not? It's a big ass difference. And like I said, the mental illness part I can kind of speak on, but as far as the suicide and depression, I really can't. That's why I really blew this up on my page to ask people, if you've ever dealt with it, if you know somebody else that has dealt with it, you may want to check out this show. Feel free to jump on, because I'm not a healthcare professional. I ain't never thought about doing it or anything like that. So it's different for me. That's why I'm sitting here. I'm ignorant to this. That's why I'm shutting the hell up. And I'm
exactly.
Because once again, it's a difference if you have someone like my man D who's been through it. That's a different dynamic. That's what you want. We can't sit here and assume anything, because they absolutely right. The person who you think is good, they're not. I think one of the greatest examples is Robin Williams, the comedian.
Yes.
Yo, that dude, he was funny as hell. He was one of the funniest white dudes I've ever seen on TV. But you would never think that he was battling the demon that he was battling. So we really don't know. And I'm also sitting back bugging, because me growing up, my grandmother always used to say to me, "Are you a man or a mouse?" If I started crying. And I used to be like, I'm a man, and I start sniffling or whatever, stop sniffling, and I stop. But that was typical of me. But what happens when you have someone who's sensitive? I never heard it, but somebody might say I'm a mouse. What you gonna do then? Then you gotta address certain things. And when you start talking to a professional and things like that, I think people should do that regardless, whether you're clinically depressed or not, because people have moments. Everybody have a moment where you a little fucked up in the head. And if you don't have that person who you can confide in, I would think that it would be kind of good if you can talk to a professional who's not going to put your business out there. And I think that's the other part. That's the other thing too. Hell, think about the show The Sopranos. What was the premise? A damn gangster going to talk about his problems because he was having anxiety attacks. He damn near died because of what he was doing. So, I'm gonna sit back. Like I said, I'm gonna sit back, be quiet, just let's listen, this, that, whatever, and actually learn tonight.
Yo, when it comes to the kids, I think it's real delicate. When it comes to kids, I got 5 of them. I got 23-year-old, 16, 14, 12, and 11. So us growing up, Robert touched on it a little bit. Just to start this segment off. When we were coming up, outside was our internet. You know what I'm saying? Going to school was our internet. Now, they kids get home, they got YouTube, they get on the internet, like Rob said, they get, you got bullied, you got cyber bullies, you got these tough guys behind these keyboards, all this kind of stuff. That's stuff we didn't have to deal with. These kids today have so much access to stuff, and you have to be wary about everything that your kid is doing online. I'm an IT guy, so I got blockers and all kind of stuff on my network, but that's not going to stop everything. So, as far as with the depression and stuff, they get to see these kids from all over the world, not just the kids in your neighborhood. We just had to see kids in our neighborhoods and kids that were in our class. Now they get to see kids all over the world going through different kind of stuff, and you never know what kind of impact that has on your kid from seeing somebody else go through that stuff, or seeing somebody else on YouTube saying, "I'm gonna cut my wrist," or "This how you do it. This how I'm gonna do it," and stuff like that. The stuff I've seen on YouTube is ridiculous. I'm like, man, so you have to, really stay on top of your kids and what they're into, what they're watching, and stuff like that. And then not to mention the school now bringing the stuff into, and they're introducing suicide, to the young kids and stuff like that, which I don't really agree with, but I understand why they're doing it. But I think in some ways, it gives kids ideas of how to do stuff, and some of the stuff is they manipulate their parents with that stuff because if I say this, I can get away with that. If I tell them on this, I can get away with that. So it's a fine line you got to walk with these kids because you don't know what's true and what's not true, and what's happening and what's not happening. So, I mean, these times it's really tough. It's really an attack on our kids, man. We have to really put our arms around our kids and make sure they're doing the right thing.
And one of the things that we got to do with kids, especially, and I hate when parents say they give their kids a lot of freedom, you got to look at what they doing on the internet. That's what's made the suicide rate go up. You can find out how to do this stuff. So if you don't know what your kids are searching for and what they reading about, you don't have a clue, because them kids ain't no different than I was. They are perfect actors. They know how to make things look good. They will give you little clues. But when parents say, "Oh, I don't want him to feel like I'm spying on him," why not? He's a child. He can't express certain things to you, and kids are so tech savvy now. They can make bombs. They can read about how to commit suicide. And I was listening to some of the things they said. Again, we talking me. I was a cop. I got 20 guns. Who am I gonna keep the guns from? It's what I do for a living. Every day I get up, I put a gun on. Every day I'm surrounded by them. But I made sure I didn't want my kids to be like me. I got everybody's password. All I'm looking for is their history, what they looking at. I don't care about nothing else. I need to see their history. What are you searching for when you go on the internet? What is it you talking about? Because these are the things that are important. And they're saying, "Well, why you doing all that?" I ain't worried about none of these fast ass girls. I'm really not. I want to make sure that when he's searching for stuff, or if he's searching for porn, you know what, I can live with that because I know the other options. And these are the things that we have to become more cognizant of as parents, because we check the grades, we look at some of their friends and stuff, but do we know what their internet history is like other than what they tell us? We can't be afraid to. That's one of the best reasons to have a community computer, so that you give everybody a password when they log on. You can go log on when they all asleep to make sure they ain't doing nothing you don't want to do.
I'm gonna suggest this again for everybody out there. I'm serious, especially if you have children. You have to watch that documentary. I can't stress this enough. It's touching on exactly this topic in a roundabout way, but it's statistics that they're giving you.
Given the name of what's the name of it again?
The Social Dilemma on Netflix.
Social Dilemma.
If you go look for it right now, and that's why if you go look at my page, I think it might have been 2 days ago, and I posted how everybody needs to watch The Social Dilemma, 13, The Devil We Know, and Toxic Beauty, all on Netflix. Watch all 4 of them, and then the one you want to pay for, obviously, is Hidden Colors 1 through 5. So that right there, but you watch those, it touches on, but the main one right now, because of the topic, you watch The Social Dilemma. I promise you, It will touch on a lot of stuff. It's going to make you look at yourself, but it's also going to make you look at yourself as far as the children, because that's where you got to be. You got to be mindful, because this is my personal opinion. I can be wrong, but I'm gonna stand by this. There is no way a 10-year-old should be committing suicide. Because first and foremost, how the hell do they know what suicide is?
Right.
There's no way they should know what it is.
But see, that's what I was saying about. But they have access to stuff we didn't have access to. So you can't judge them how we came up as kids. We didn't have access to all this stuff.
Nah, I'm not.
You know what I'm saying?
That. What I'm saying is, basically, and I'm speaking to all the parents. I'm speaking to all the parents. I don't have children. There is no way a child should even know what suicide is based on the parents. Bottom line is, if the parents are right, if the parents are doing a good job as being parents, of course you can't deny them from knowing what it is. But most parents, they do. You got kids out there, they don't have access to social media. It ain't going down like that. They don't have a cell phone. That's what I'm saying. But when you start looking at the children who are doing it, social media, the cyberbullying, whatever, they got access to everything. That boils down to it'll be harder. Don't get it twisted. It's harder to do everything right now in the technology age. But
Jay, you got to take into consideration that even if you're doing a good job of shielding your kid from that, they still going to school and they still picking this up from Bobby, who parent ain't doing that. And
Exactly.
Bobby said, "Hey, if you know how to, I know how to cut your wrist and do it like this. So I know how. Oh, I thought about doing this. Now that's putting something in your kid's mind. Now your kid's thinking like, oh shit. Well, what if that? So I get what you're saying, but is the other aspect to it too. On the flip side of that is we can't control what they do when they go to school or when they go outside of the home. We can't control nobody else's kids and what they doing.
Then a lot of the way people parent now, man, is they spoil their kids. They try to get their kids everything they didn't have, and when you try to snatch it away, you got a problem. I was watching a video yesterday where this young lady, she was throwing bricks in her mama's car because her mama wanted her to clean up, and I'm like, okay. I don't know if y'all seen that video, and I'm like, because she wanted her to clean up, and it because you have letting her got away so long without cleaning up. And now it's a problem when you try to be mama, because you try to be friend too much. So anytime you try to be friend, and when you get fed up and you try to now you want to be parent, the kids have a problem with it because they don't know how to be a kid. They know how to be your friend. So that's how a lot of stuff get misconstrued like that. So. And kids, like Jermaine said, kids, you going to school with the other friends, and they talking about how they get it, how they got it at home, and it's hard to judge it, man, because we going by how we were raised as kids.
But
you know what I'm saying?
Let me say this: a part of it that we putting some of this on parents, but parents ain't no different than regular society. They're ignorant, and most parents don't want to discuss bad things. Most of us don't talk to our kids about sex trafficking because we don't want to talk about it. This is a tough subject for a lot of people because one, they either don't know or they don't want to let it out their closet. It took me 5 years before I would ever publicly admit my depression. When the subject come up, I just sit back and act like I didn't know shit. Because I felt like a weakling. People say, what you think about it? I don't know nobody who liked that. I'm living it. But everybody, again, thought I had a great life. And for me to come out publicly took a whole lot. I mean, like I said, I was like that when Robert met me. Nobody knew because I kept it my most guarded secret. So when we asking parents to do stuff that one, if they ain't familiar with it, they can't know. And if we take my man's suggestion and we watch the video, if we watch the video with the kids, are we putting an idea in their head, or we making them knowledgeable so that now if something happens, they can at least recognize it. See, that's a double-edged sword that a lot of parents don't want to deal with. They feel like if I don't say something about it, I ain't got to worry about it. They do it with sex, they do it with pregnancy, they do it with everything. Let's just talk about good stuff because ain't nothing bad gonna never happen. At some point, we have to address real possibilities. I sent my daughter to a class in Chapel Hill where they talked about sex trafficking, things she never thought about. But most parents, it's 22 kids there. in all of Douglas County, it's 22 kids. But most parents don't want to have that conversation because we in that denial and it'll never happen to us theory. Then we got this pandemic going on that's causing a lot of, you can't even get out to relieve your depression. A lot of kids are now in probably abusive households, which is only gonna make it a little bit worse. And it's just so many things going on. And think about it, whether or not it was you, but how many times have we heard somebody heard them say, their parents say, "Oh, I wish I would have never had you. I wish you just kill yourself." See, those things stink and they last forever. They don't go away. You know, oh, I was just in the heat of the moment. I ain't meant it. Okay, it's just like that brick through the window. You can't take it back. The glass broken. And you know, the good people miss these things. But a lot of these parents, like I say, some of them are ignorant, some of them are in denial. Hell, some of them are suicidal and depressed and don't even know it because they don't have insurance to go do about it. They don't know about any of the free resources like Jermaine was talking about. They don't have no way to get help. And it's still a scarlet letter in a black neighborhood. So how do we fix those things? How do we make sure that everybody gets it? You know, I think everybody should, like we get checkups every year. We're supposed to for colon cancer, all this. Every year, our insurance should pay for us to go see a mental health expert just to go talk, just to get screened. But
I agree.
That ain't one of them things that's popular. But that need to be mandatory. Everybody needs to have a mental health screening annually.
Yeah, I agree. Charlamagne the God do that. We talk about that a lot too.
What I had pulled up is some statistics, some general statistics. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States of all ages. Every day, approximately 123 Americans die from suicide every day. Man, this is CDC. This is a CDC report. There is one death by suicide every 12 seconds. So, how many people gonna die within 2 hours while we on here? It's crazy, man. Depression affects 25 to 25% of American ages 18 in any given year. Suicide takes lives over 44,965 American every year. Damn.
You talking about COVID?
Yeah. And see, people, you would never think that, man. Only half of all Americans experiencing an episode of major depression receive treatment. So that means half of the people who got depression never get it checked out, man. 80 to 90% of people that seek treatment for depressions are treated successfully using therapy or medication. An estimate over 250,000 each year become suicidal survivors. 250,000. That means they even thought about suicide or, wanted to, hurt themselves. You know what I'm saying? There is one suicide every estimated 25 suicide attempts. So that means every time 25 people try to commit suicide, one person gonna be successful. There is one suicide every estimated 4 suicide attempts in the elderly. So we don't even really think about the elderly when it comes to that, right?
Yeah.
So, but it happens, man, and happening at an alarming rate.
What year was that, Robert? Do you know?
I don't took it down now.
And the thing is, like I said, with 2020 being what it is, I would bet the numbers are doubling.
Yeah,
they're doubling.
Yeah, but you know what? What I appreciate you saying that, but what I don't appreciate, and I've said this before about everything that's going on. This subject is so powerful and so real. They will not touch it, and all they want to talk about is the coronavirus. That's the shit that's frustrating, because this is something that also needs to be touched on. Okay, we're in a pandemic, whatever it is, but it's a situation where there's people out there who have illness, who are stuck in the house, and we need to make sure we address this also. And they're not doing that, and I don't think that's fair at any rate.
But at some point, why don't we control the narrative? It's like I was telling somebody, they can talk about what they want to. We can piggyback and we can create our own subtopics. And just a side note, when the little white boy did the killing, it's like, they ain't nobody call a white on white crime. We can call a white on white crime. We got the same narrative. We got the same audience. We can script it the way we want to. These are things that we got to start doing and stop waiting for other people to help us. Because Hey, at the end of the day, predators do what predators do. Predators want to keep their prey down. We are the prey. So why would anybody want to do anything that'll help uplift us and make us better? That's something that we got to start doing. We have to get on that. And it's like I was telling somebody, it's like this dude on Facebook, he doing this, he doing. Well, one, you don't know what he's going through. So sometimes people say stuff, and you have to just take it for what it is. Because sometimes some people need a push. I learned that doing my research. Some people are close to suicide. They close. But what they need to do is to make Robert mad. So Robert will say something, because I see this on Facebook all the time. Dude, go kill yourself. Go do this, go do that. That's the only little push they need, is somebody to help devalue them. And sometimes we fall into that trap because we hood, we real, we from the street, that's what we do. So, and it's like I found myself doing it too. So anytime somebody upset me to the point I want to say something derogatory to them now, I just go to another post, because I don't want to assist anybody in suicide. And it's something that we don't even recognize sometimes when we start going back and forth with people. I like my man, we done disagreed about stuff. He ain't never disrespectful. We ain't never had to call each other names. But a lot of people can't do that.
Yeah,
let me interrupt and bring another guest in, man. We got
let me segue this person real quick.
You segue her in then.
Yeah. For everybody out there, we did say on the show that we would kind of promote businesses and stuff by us, but this goes a little deeper because of my relationship with her. Her name is April Prayer. She's a criminal defense attorney in Chicago. We got cool probably, I would say maybe 6 years ago. This is my she's that chick, and I'm serious. But she's also going to kind of touch on the topic, but I want her to pretty much go ahead and introduce. I'm not gonna steal none of her thunder. I ain't saying nothing after. I'm gonna let her do, because she does a.
You don't got some of it already, man.
Yeah, like when you hear her speak, you're gonna see what I'm talking about.
Hey, welcome to the show, April. Welcome to the show. This your show too, now. You know what I'm saying? It ain't mine, it's your show.
Thank you. I've been listening to you brothers on here, and I'm very impressed and glad that we're touching on this topic. It's just so important, and it's something that we hide as the Black community, especially with Black men. So I'm really excited. So to tell you a little bit about my background, I am a criminal defense attorney in Chicago. I have been practicing for almost 21 years. I also do civil rights cases. So I sue cops for shooting people, beating them up, tasering them. So I see everything on the dark side. And I developed a board game to teach teens and adults how to stay out of the criminal justice system, and then more importantly, how to interact with police safely. So I was just telling Food that I actually just did a video last week talking about mental health, but from the angle that a lot of times when someone in our family is having a mental health crisis, or someone is contemplating suicide and we think they may actually act on it, we go and call 911, and that's the wrong number to dial. I don't care where you live in America, because chances are the police are going to respond and put a bullet in you, the caller, put a bullet in the person who is having the mental health crisis. And even if that person isn't mentally ill, if they're autistic, if their behavior is not the norm, then that doesn't even matter what color they are. I think it was a white boy who was 15 who got shot up by police last week because he was autistic and his affect was weird to the police. And so they shot him multiple times. So I'm a big advocate of that, so much so that that's some of the scenarios I put in my game, is that you don't call the police if you are having some type of mental health crisis in your household, whether it's you, whether it's another family member. You find out some other way to get that person some help, get them to the psych ward. And because I've had a number of clients who family members called, specifically said, hey, don't send the cops. I just need some EMTs. I think my son is going to commit suicide. He's tried before. And within 90 seconds of the police arriving, because the police always come first, the young man was tasered first and then shot 2 times in the chest. And he was Puerto Rican. And then my other client, exact same facts, it was a white male. He was shot 6 times in the chest. And remember, their families called for help. He's suicidal, not homicidal. He's suicidal. And still they ended with multiple bullets in them. So it's just very important that, because whether we push and sweep depression and mental illness under the rug or not, it's going to show its effects somehow. And that family member who thinks that you might be suicidal, the one who does reach out, they call 911 to check on you, and either they get arrested because they tried to restrain you in some way, and then the police come and say, what are these marks? And they get hauled away in the paddy wagon, and you are still left to roam the streets and never make it to the psych ward, or the mentally ill person catches 2 bullets in their chest.
Now,
See,
April, if you don't, April,
I think this part of what they mean by defunding the police to shift some of that funding to other areas, to where, like, say that you call the paramedics, they don't know how to deal with a mental ill patient, you know, so they're going to call the police. You see what I'm saying? So something has to be done to where they have somebody to come out with the paramedics to aid them instead of the police. So until we have that in place, I think we're going to always continue to have the cops coming out with the paramedics, because the paramedics, they trying to be safe too.
Let me say this, because I train on this in Georgia, and this is one of the things that we've been fussing about in Georgia. We have a class called Crisis Training, CTI, Crisis Training Intervention, that's mandatory. But you got department heads that won't send people to it. The whole purpose of it is to treat us how to deal with people who have mental issues. So when we get certain calls, only certain officers can go. We had 15 people. They work the shit out of you, but you understand all the little mental things. The first thing we do when we go there is we call a transport unit, so that once we're there, we got a whole different set of tools. You learn how to talk. You learn when you got to be patient. Rule number 1 is you realize this is not going to be a 15-minute call. You go ahead and make your mind up that you're going to be there for 4 hours if that's what it takes. When I look at some of the other cities and states, they don't even talk about this. You don't have CTI. I mean, this is mandatory now. Like I said, they just slow getting it to everybody, but every patrolman has to be CTI certified, so that you know when you're dealing with somebody who's suffering depression, a manic event, a bipolar event, you learn strictly how to deal with them, and you call for another backup, whether it's the EMTs, whether it's another person who has because we tag team a lot when you go to this, when you need a CTI person, because I make it worn down. So, I mean, we did one. It took us 6.5 hours to get this guy down. But hey, I'm a salaried employee, so it didn't matter. But this is something that we learn, and nobody has to get hurt. It's just time consuming. And other agencies, remember I told them we talking about police reform and what we should ask for when something happens? Even our civil rights leaders, they never talk about this. This is why I don't mess with most of them. They never talk about what can be done. There are systems in place right now, and they free. The feds teach CTI. But a lot of agencies still don't want to touch it, simply because, we don't have enough people to do it. You got enough people to shoot. This is something that can be fixed easily. But how many times have you seen that dude, that attorney that I don't like, make it part of a requirement in all his cases? Nobody talks about it, but it's there. So when people say you ain't got to defund, you just got to make it mandatory. And any police chief or sheriff that doesn't do it, send them to jail. Once you start sending sheriffs and chiefs to jail, guess what? Everybody gonna get that training. Everybody gonna get it.
April, if you don't,
what the issue is, it's not required nationwide. So I'm in Illinois, I'm in Chicago, and the way the Chicago police, because we got a terrible reputation. We had the DOJ on our back, and in Chicago, it's not required. So they offer CTI training, but it's not mandatory. So I have a good friend that does mental health training, and she said it's a beautiful training. They even have mentally ill people come in to say, this is the face of mental illness that you will meet when you come to my door. But then she said, it's not mandatory. So most police officers are getting it. So think, if you have a crisis, you request a CTI officer, but there are none working that shift, or there are none in your part of town. There are none who are available. So it doesn't even matter. Like you said, it's the numbers are so few and far between that even if they have the training available, and if all police officers don't have it, you're going to be in a position where police, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, police are taught to neutralize the threat. That means if you got a knife, even if it's a pocket knife, or you got some type of weapon, their goal is to get you to the ground so that you're no longer a threat to them. And if you're acting bizarre and you can't even control your body yourself because you're having some sort of episode, it's going to end badly if that officer who shows up has no training. So that's something I actually address in my game. And I say, what you should do in advance is call NAMI and find out what resources are available in your area, because it is so different. It's different in Montana. It's different in Indiana. It's different in Nevada. It's different in Texas. And it's different in each county within each state. So you need to call in advance if you have a family member who's autistic, if you have a family member who's schizophrenic, if you have one who suffers from manic depression, you need to call in advance and make a plan. And I mean, it's not a perfect world. Some people have psychotic breaks for the first time at 21 or 22 or 27, and that's not something you can anticipate. But if you have a family member who has a history of having behavioral crises, then this is something you need to do in advance so that you and your family are in a position to try to get them help without necessarily calling 911, because you may not be able to get that officer at your house who is trained in how to deal with that person.
April, if you can, because I really do want everybody, all the listeners and everybody and anybody out there, especially the panel, please let them know the details of the game, where they can get it, and like where do you want to take it as far as where do you want to implement it and things like that.
Well, first, this is the game right here. It's called Trials and Triumph. And
hold the book up again.
Oh,
that's a nice.
It's a board game like Monopoly or.
Wow, that's nice.
And so there are two worlds. The two worlds are the world of possibilities where all your dreams come true. You graduate high school, you get a job, you buy a business, your computer dies, the ups and downs of life. And then there's the world of trouble. And that's where you could end up in court and in jail and trying to get bond and trying to get your case heard and trying to get out back into the world before your friends beat you to triumph with success. And along the way, there are 54 different real life scenarios that you could find yourself in. You can walk out the door right now and get stopped for your tail light being out. Will you get a warning, or will you get told that your car matches the description for a drive-by shooting that took place? You don't know until you draw the card. And then along the way, there are 7 different principles that are being taught, reiterated throughout the game over and over and over and over and over again, so that by the end of the game, you're very clear on what those are. You didn't have to memorize anything. It's just kind of part of your DNA by the time you get done playing. But the game can be found at my website, which is justusjunkie.com, and that's JUSTUSJUNKIE. .store. And I spell it differently because there's a saying that there is no justice, there's just us. And so I'm looking out for just us. And so that's why I spell it differently. I have a series of videos that I do on Facebook to break down legal jargon into everyday terms. And that's how this came to be. I realized on Facebook, I was reaching my peers. I was not reaching 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 14-year-olds, because they were in school, pre-COVID, of course. They were in school, and that was a place I could go reach them. I could have them play the game, and they learned so much faster playing the game than they ever would from me talking at them. And so it's very powerful to watch children play, because they forget adults are in the room and they start having conversations like, oh, this is why my aunt's in prison now. Or they say things like, oh, I did this last week and didn't get caught. And so afterwards, it's really great because you can have a contextual conversation instead of kind of a vague conversation in a vacuum about what happens when you get stopped by Officer Friendly.
And what's your Facebook name?
It's Justice Junkie, JUSTUSJUNKIE is my Facebook name as well.
You have an Instagram?
I have like 200 videos on there where I break down legal terms. I actually just did one on Breonna Taylor about 2 hours ago, talking about why her killers will never be charged.
Wow.
Do you have access to the comment section? Can you type your
Oh yeah, sure. I see the chat.
Yeah.
I see the chat.
Yeah. Thank you.
Now y'all see why I said I wanted her on. I told you she a monster. Monster beast. Over the top.
Thank you. I'm honored to be on. The conversation has been amazing. I've been here since the beginning, listening in. And like I said, I think it's really powerful. I had a interview about a month ago with a gentleman here in Chicago. His name is Dr. Obari Cartman. and he is a PhD in psychology, and he touches on all issues of mental illness, and he talks about how you have to approach Black people differently. Like, generally in the profession, as a psychologist, you don't tell the patient anything about yourself. He's like, nah, Black people want to know who you are and why you have authority to tell me about my life. And so we had a great conversation about all things mental illness and the stigma in the Black community, and how men are taught not to cry and not taught not to express themselves, and not to really let anybody in, and to act out in destructive ways instead. And so we had a very powerful conversation. So I'm glad to see that you all are doing something similar over here, because it's so necessary. People are really suffering during COVID. There's a lot of loneliness from having sheltered in place for so long. And so I'm not surprised at all about the suicide rate going up.
And you know what? I'm gonna say this to you because you said a couple things. So I'm gonna reach out to you. When one of the best therapy sessions I had, because I still go to therapy, and I had to tell my therapist, quit asking me am I suicidal. I'm not suicidal, but I do have a death wish. Whenever you ask me suicide, I automatically lead a conversation. I don't want to kill myself. I'm not in a hurry to avoid death. I said, so you lose me when you keep asking me that question. I know I'm not going to do it myself. But if 20 people were shooting and I had a slingshot, there were times I would go with that slingshot and try to win that fight. I said, and there's a whole difference. I don't know what you guys saying, but by definition, because I'm slightly smart, I'm not suicidal. And I had to tell him, you have to sometimes, because you say you got to qualify yourself to me. Why should I talk to you? You're not as old as I am. And he taught me a lot of different things. He taught me different ways to calm my emotions, because I wasn't always sad when I was suicidal. Sometimes sometimes when I felt the urge not to be here anymore, I was a clear mind. I had a clear plan, a clear path to victory to get what I wanted. Everybody else just screwed it up because they didn't uphold their end. But I wasn't like, what's going to happen to everybody else? And, I was telling somebody, like, it's a temporary solution. No, for the person who's depressed, it's a permanent solution. Depression goes away with death. And it's the one time I felt like I could be selfish, because everything else is always geared toward making everybody else feel okay, making people not feel uncomfortable being around me. Because if I'm sitting in a room with all you guys and I tell y'all I'm suicidal, you know what y'all gonna do? Y'all gonna start looking at me. Now I'm gonna become a little paranoid. It's like, damn, why they looking at me like that? Because y'all don't know nobody who has a death wish and who's openly talking about it. So everybody kind of looks at you and they feel sorry for you, which only makes things worse. So the best thing you can do is just say nothing and be like, yeah, when I leave here, I'm gonna try to smash somebody today too. I'm gonna go get me some tequila and we're gonna have a good time, because you learn to play the game. And even therapists teach you this, because they ask certain questions, because some of them don't cater to you specifically. They cater to generics, and they ask you questions that don't even apply to you. The best therapist I had, he made me talk most of the time. The two, I had a man and woman. They made me talk. And it's like, well, what were you feeling? I only knew a couple of basic emotions. I was either happy or I wasn't happy. He's like, well, were you depressed? Were you worried? Were you this? And he gave me a chart with like 47 different emotions. And it's like, hey, whenever you're feeling like this, find your emotion. Well, damn. I'm 55 and I don't know that I got all these other different emotions, but I do have them. I just never classified them. And it's like, shit, I'm either depressed or I'm not. He's like, nah, you got a range of things you can go through. What's getting you here so quickly? And then I saw steps. This was making me go there. Okay. These are the steps that got me to this point where I was okay with dying. So, like I said, there's a lot of little things that we have to pay attention to. And as she was saying, a couple of attorneys who I hate and despise, some of the things they do are never to reform for cops making better decisions, because the training is there. I mean, CTI is some great training. It's some of the best training I ever had. I'm sorry, CIT. It's some of the best training I ever had. It's there. It's free. It's 40 hours. Most departments can't afford to lose an officer for 40 hours. The ones that do, they're going to let it be day shift guys. They're going to be the elitists who don't work at night, who don't work weekends. When most of the calls come at night and on the weekends.
Yeah.
It's and I hate the stereotype, but crazy people don't exist from 9 to 5. They got other stuff to do. It's when they get downtime is when it rises. So from 11 to 7, when you need them, most agencies only got 4 or 5 officers on the street, and it's like Yeah. And none of these attorneys or civil rights advocates ever let that be one of their motivating forces when they're asking for a police change or reform.
I got a question for April and for you, D, because you got one on one side with the law, then you are officer or were officer.
Were.
Is there any way to introduce that type of training per se to actually have mental health professionals, quote unquote, on the force or readily available?
April, you want to go first?
I was just gonna say it depends on the budget. Like the
Okay.
budgets vary so much. Like even here in Chicago. So obviously CPD is a massive force, but then we got, I don't know, 3 dozen suburbs with, like he said, like 5 cops on each force. So no, they're not going to be able to afford that. So everything comes to funding here. Like even all the mental health facilities that we had available, our last mayor shut half of them down. So you had all these mentally ill people who had a place to go in the past who no longer even have a place to go get medication. So it's all going to come, it's all about dollars and cents. And I don't see that changing. And that's really why the training isn't more widespread as well. And I was going to say one thing. So my firm actually, like I said, we do civil rights work here. We actually did make civil rights, I'm not civil rights, the CIT training part of a consent decree that we did with a whole bunch of different organizations like Northwestern, the ACLU, all these other different civil rights organizations, and CPD signed off on it because we had a huge lawsuit against them, and that had to be 2 years ago, and they haven't implemented one thing in there. And that was the main demand of all these different civil rights groups, is that you implement this crisis training for your officers. They have not implemented anything, and it was, it was requested, it was a part of the lawsuit, and it was basically a joke because we got blown off, and they have never put any of it into action.
And it's crazy. I actually helped Fulton County get through their consent decree, so I know a lot about those. But to answer your question, it won't happen for the same reason that firemen and EMTs won't go into dangerous situations. They're not prepared to handle them. Anytime it's just a possibility of danger, to try to get a mental health person on the police department, you're going to have to still put them through the same training, and that's not the training that they want. Because it's gonna all go back to liability. And worst case scenario is, I went to a guy who had a knife, wanted to stab everybody. I'm a little bit retarded. I'm not scared of people with knives. I know to keep something between us. It took me 40 minutes to get him to let that knife go. But by all accounts, I should have shot him the first time he came with the knife, because that's typically what we're trained to do.
Mm-hmm.
Except for I had the CIT training, and I realized he was going through a crisis. I was trying to wait him out. And truth be told, I was trying to get him close enough to me that I could tase him, but I couldn't. But I didn't want to shoot him. But I still had to put first and foremost, how much of my safety am I willing to risk to not get him? But again, based on what I do, I knew to keep a barrier between us. So the couple of times he came toward me, I had something between us so I could move. I ain't gonna lie and say I wasn't panicky, but I wasn't scared. And I don't know if my depression thing was kicking in too, and I was 50-50. But the training helped me realize that something was wrong with him, other than the fact that he was just violent. But if you send a medical professional in there, they're not going. As soon as you tell them somebody in there with a knife and I think he having a break, they'll be on a megaphone or something, but they're not going in there to do a face-to-face. Paramedics ain't gonna do it. Firefighters ain't gonna do it. In the head, they got a water hose, but they gonna want a cop first, which is why they're told if the scene ain't safe, get a cop there before you go in. But it's one of them things that needs to be talked about, and maybe they got to start giving some officers more training and letting them be mental health certified and getting more of them on different shifts. And, that may be one quick solution that they can do to help the situation. But like I said, with the funding and a lot of money not being there and nobody checking on them, it's kind of hard. And that may be one, unless you get a bunch of attorneys pushing for it and you get judges to enforce the consent decrees and fines. The only reason Fulton County ever got past the consent decree is because the judge started demanding payments every day that they weren't in compliance. Once they had to pay them checks, guess what? We got in compliance just like that. Because it was no more the threat of this. He fined him 3 times, and he said the next time he ain't issue no more fines, he's locking up management. Boom, 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 boom. We was on it. We were on it. They found people to fill positions. They found ways to get everything done. They found ways to reduce overcrowding. They found bed space. But it takes attorneys. It takes attorneys and judges pushing. Other than that, everybody's just gonna try to wait you out because that's the system.
Let me play this video around in case some people watching who may be, feeling some kind of way, feeling like they're going through a depression, and there's different levels of it. I know sometimes it might be mild, sometimes it might be severe, which is the worst case scenario that might lead to suicide. So I'm gonna play this video, which probably supposed to be the clinical term of it.
But like the power that be don't want you to play it.
He ain't pay that bill.
No, I didn't hit play. I got to hit play. There we go.
Introduction. Humans respond to stress, loss, and adversity in a variety of ways. Many of us have experienced low mood and spirits when faced with a difficulty or a loss. We may lose our sleep, appetite, and may not feel like socializing or meeting people. This change in behavior is a normal human reaction to a stressful situation. As such, a state is transient and goes away in a couple of days. But if symptoms such as low mood, hopelessness, changes in appetite, sleep patterns, loss of interest in hobbies, anhedonia, feelings of guilt persist for more than 2 weeks, and negatively affect our social, domestic, and occupational functioning, then it is no more a normal reaction, but a pathological one, and may merit a concern for clinical depression. Major depression is extremely common among various societies, and despite being a treatable illness, goes largely undiagnosed due to its insidious nature and the stigma attached to its diagnosis and seeking treatment. Case for urgency. According to the International Global Burden of Disease Study, major depressive disorder, MDD, is the third leading cause of the years lived with disability, YLDs, which can be described as years lived in less than ideal health in Pakistan and globally. The socioeconomic burden of mental illness in Pakistan is tremendous, of which MDD contributes significantly and was estimated to be approximately $4,264 million in the year 2006, according to recent estimates carried out in Pakistan. Severe forms of clinical depression often translate into suicides. According to a report published in 2014, every 40 seconds a person commits suicide. For every person who commits suicide, there are 20 people who attempt ending their lives. Mental illness at large and major depression is particular pose a public health challenge, which calls public health policy institutes and governments to take appropriate steps. Diagnosis, signs, and symptoms. Major depressive disorder is diagnosed on the basis of a set of 9 symptoms formulated in the Diagnostics and Statistical Manual, DSM-5, and their context. 5 or more of the 9 symptoms, including at least one of depressed mood and loss of interest or pleasure in the same 2-week period, and each of the symptoms represent a change from previous functioning. These symptoms include depressed mood, subjective or observed. Irritability is more common in teenagers. Loss of interest of pleasure, change in weight or appetite, insomnia or hypersomnia, psychomotor agitation, observed, loss of energy or fatigue, feelings of worthlessness or guilt, impaired concentration or indecisiveness, thoughts of death or suicidal ideation and attempt. If there is depression resulting in significant clinical impairment, but not meeting the above criteria for major depression, then it is termed as adjustment disorder with depressed mood. This occurs within 3 months following a stressful life event and does not persist for 6 months after the termination of the stressor. If there are depressive symptoms occurring within 2 months of the death of a loved one, then it is considered as normal grief. If symptoms persist beyond 2 months, then a diagnosis of major depression needs to be explored. Severity. Major depression can be mild, moderate, or severe. In mild depression, despite the symptoms, functioning would still be preserved. In moderate depressive illness, the different facets of functioning would be markedly impaired. Whereas in severe major depression disorder, one may experience and act on suicidal thoughts. In very severe forms, one may even experience hallucinations and delusions accompanying the mood symptoms, which is termed as major depression with psychotic features.
All right. Anybody want to elaborate on that?
We ain't got no doctors on here, so it's gonna be hard.
That's why I wouldn't have got a video of doctor talking about it. So go ahead.
Well, I think the biggest thing when we dealing with it and with the therapy, because I actually went to quite a few therapists, is one is finding somebody who speaks English. Once you start talking like a doctor to me, it's cute all the other shit you're saying, but you know what it becomes? It becomes shit you're saying. You're not talking to me at a level of where I can comprehend what you're saying. You're not giving me some of the shit you say is just who is this for? Who is it? Who are you talking to? Tell me something specific for me. Tell me what I'm doing that's this. Because like I said, we all have moments of sadness. Sadness is not depression. But if you listen to some of these therapists, you'll think that every time you're sad, you're depressed. And they are so different. You know, you sad when you lose, you sad when your mom died. But are you really depressed? You going through a little phase, but the light is gonna come. When you're depressed, that light never comes on. Never. You don't have great days. You have great 20-minute segments. You have great 25-minute segments. And you know, it's like, quit saying this for me. I've been sad and I felt great, but I knew it was just sadness. When I was depressed, I played like I was feeling great, but I knew that I knew I was lying to everybody. And there's a you know, when my mom was sick, I could cry in front of anybody because, oh yeah, his mom's sick, you know, everybody was okay with that. But when I was crying because of me, nobody cares. Oh man, you got a great life. You got this, you got money, you learn the difference. So it's not being sad. It's such a huge difference. And some of these therapists, they try to be so intelligent when they talk, they just lose you. I need somebody who talks like me, who sounds like me. Which is why when I start going to places with real people, they don't have technical terms. They don't speak like that. And you know, you got to have that realism when you're talking to your kids. You got to have something special. You can't just use big words and think they're gonna come on over and just, oh yeah, Dad, you know, when my medulla oblongata was feeling this way, and there ain't nobody got time for that. And you know, with some of the videos, they talk. It's like they talking for each other. They're not talking for us. They're not talking to the patient. They talking to other doctors. That's just my.
I'm sitting here laughing because Darren, you're making me want to be a therapist. I know I'm a real motherfucker.
Hey man, I'm gonna tell you the drawback to it is almost like being a good cop, man. You get drawn into so many emotions. April can tell you, she's an attorney. You get paid to be, you know, you want to be stoic, but sometimes you hear cases, man, that make it hard for you to sleep. You know, you standing there in front of people with the business face, but as soon as they turn, man, it's like, damn, you know, whoo, you know, you need a drink. You don't want to be bothered. It ain't easy, man.
I mean, hey, DVP, do you think when you said, you know, they're going when you talk to these professionals and they always, you know, the first thing they want to do is say depression. Do you think it's because they want to prescribe you some kind of medicine?
I think it's because that's all they know. And the book says to do this. This is all they know. I won't take medicine. Like I said, I've just been afraid of being a junkie. I'm afraid of being an alcoholic. So, you know, I went to one who wanted to give me the whole lobotomy treatment where they were going to put electrodes in my head to try to regulate some shit. I didn't like sticking my finger in the socket, so I damn ain't finna sit there and let you put electrical, you know, nose on my head to shock me. So I'm listening, you know. But when I heard people tell me about some basic medicines, some natural herbs and stuff they could take to try to regulate their moods, I was more inclined to listen to that. But all that other stuff, that's just what they know. And I hate to be racist, but shit, it is what it is. That's what a lot of white people do. And it works for them, but they want to be drugged up. I don't want to be drugged up. I want to have conscious. I still want to feel the full range of emotions. I just don't want my thoughts to always go dark so quick. So, you know, but who talks to them about that? The levels of darkness is the first thing you have to deal with when you're depressed. Because like I said, you got a baseline of depression. Then, you know, you just hit rock bottom I need to be brought back up here. I accept the fact I'm not getting here. I'm not gonna be like the normal people where I can truly be happy about shit all the time. But I need to be at a baseline where I'm okay functioning. And like I said, most therapists, they're just taught to, hey, let's medicate first. Let's see if we can, put them in a zombie-like state. That's always a lot of fun. But when you see these zombies, I don't want to do that. They just walking around and they got the little jackets on where they can scratch their back all the time. Ain't nobody got time for that. I still want to lead a semi-productive life. So yeah, and that's why it's incumbent upon us. And I ain't excluding you on this, April, but it's incumbent of us as men to not be afraid to have this conversation, to not be afraid to be around a brother who's depressed and let him cry. And if it pull a tear out of you, let it pull a tear out of you. So that now he won't feel shame when he has that moment that he needs to let go of some of that toxicity, and it's coming out in the tears. Make him feel it's okay to do that. Do it with him. Then once we comfortable with it, boom, we change the whole narrative. We just change a negative thing that we've been taught from day one. Man up, be tough. You fall and hurt yourself. Why are you crying? Because I'm hurt, Mom. Man up. We love our moms for that, and it made us tougher and all the other good stuff. But it had a significant drawback to it too that we didn't realize until later on, or in my case, once the depression hit in. Because that's still what I learned from birth. I can't undo all them years of learning to be tough and not cry and not do this. I can only change it in my sons. I can change it in the younger fellas that I meet to let them know it's okay. But I'm 55. It's all I've ever known. Be tough. Be tough. Do this. Don't let them see you sweat. Don't let them see you cry. Well, shit. Why? Because real men don't cry. Oh, shit.
I think all have heard that, man.
Yeah. So who trying to give up that real man card?
I think that we need to kind of shout out and really big up the therapists that are out there that look like us. Because I think they're like forgotten the same way with April. When April said this, it took me back too. I remember where the mental facility was as a kid back in Jersey. When they shut it down, when mental facilities and rec centers started to get shut down, you saw a change in society, especially in our hoods. It's huge. And for me, I think that we need to go back to that because in not so many ways, the funding is there. But even if we have to fund it ourselves, because when you shut those places down, people have lost jobs. There's people, they actually enjoy that type of work. I can never do it. I can admit it. I can never do that. But there's people that are built for that. And that's kind of what we need in our society, because to me, this goes back to slavery. You got stuff going on. You got to go back home. You got to bury that. It's still going on right now where stuff is being buried and there's no release, because there aren't too many people like the people that's on this show right now who you can talk to without an issue. It's cool if to have the conversation now, but it's messed up if you can't have a conversation with somebody who you truly love, who you care about. That's a tough one, because I can tell you from experience, going to funerals, I hate when I see my family crying. It's hard to really console somebody like that, especially if you're not upset, if you're not crying like that. So when you see somebody who you look up to, that rock or whatever, they don't broke down. That's tough in that situation. If you talk about a regular situation, it's not easy. Hell, we as people need those types of sessions to learn that. That's what I'm saying. We need to take advantage of the therapists that are out there to learn from them to help deal with this also. That's the way I feel about it.
But we got to learn to prioritize. And I ain't knocking how nobody does it, but we spend so much time worrying about reparations or shit that ain't going to happen in the next 5-10 years, when one of our major concerns should be having mental health facilities in all our neighborhoods, having more YMCAs, more boys clubs, so people can get out and do stuff. We concentrate so much on the super big picture that we don't ever worry about the baby steps. If somebody's going to donate $1 million, come on, as a cop, you know why white kids don't go to jail? Because as soon as I arrest a little white boy for selling drugs, his parents put him in a rehab center. The judge is okay with that. You know what black kids don't go when you catch them with drugs? The rehab center, because there's nowhere for them to go to. They ain't nowhere, so they ain't got no choice but to go to jail. We missing that picture. If we got these places, because we know we got drugs in the hood, we know we got mental issues in the hood. But the closest hospital is probably downtown by a police station. There's nothing out there that they can go to get. I mean, we used to have health centers. Hell, we don't even have condoms in the hood no more. So the pregnancy rate, it's just a lot of things that we don't prioritize, that we as a race need to look up. What will make us better? Let's put reparations on the 20-year plan. What can we do in the next 3 to 5 years?
On the never year plan. The never year plan. Keep going.
Right. But what can we do to make us better in the next 3 to 5 years? How can we start this process? And we got to look at the mental health. We got to look at having better facilities in our neighborhood that are affordable or free. So when all these fake athletes who do shit for likes, put your money where your mouth is. Donate money to this. Quit donating money to shit that we ain't gonna ever see. The Goodwill who pay their CEOs $1 million a year to do nothing. Put the money here. Let's go on and build it. We got enough vacant buildings. Y'all can build a 8-story mental health facility. Y'all can build a 2-story health facility. Y'all can fund some of this, and we can be just like that. Let's have the uncomfortable conversations. Bring April down and make her put her money where her mouth. April, come on out here, get your people there. There are plenty of ways that we can do this. There are plenty of people who want to help but don't know how. But when we get caught up in our blackness, we start making demands that aren't realistic, and we forget about how we need to take baby steps. Slavery didn't end overnight. It took a lot of steps for us to get to this point. But we don't want to accept that. Some of us still say we enslaved. But hey, we got a black female attorney who running shit. We got Robert with this crazy ass doing the radio. There are plenty of things that we can do, but we don't want to accept those as big steps for us. We like the narrative that we always being held down. When we can rise up, if don't nothing but the 6 of us get together and talk about it and share it. Like I said, it took me 5 years to ever talk about my depression publicly. I would talk about, hell, this is my 3rd marriage. This is the first wife that's ever known I was depressed. Because I never talk about it. Never. They never even knew. They just figure, oh, he going through something. Maybe it's the job. Maybe it was my life.
Yeah.
Oh man, you got a pretty wife. What you got to be sad about? My God, if you only knew. But these are the little things that we got to start addressing more. As men, we got to be able to sit down and have these talks. If we're going to share a shot, but let's have real talk. Let's stop talking about girls with big booties. Let's stop talking about fighting at the club because somebody stepped on our shoes. Let's have some true heart-to-heart conversation and see how we can make our own little segments better. All of us got 500 friends. So theoretically, there's 3,000 people we can have an effect on. That's a start. If 5 of them people go, that's a shitload more. We got to quit thinking that everybody got to agree on the same thing. My issue is mental health. Your issue is overall health. Hers is law enforcement. We can all have different ways to get to the mountaintop, and we just got to start taking them baby steps to get there without thinking, man, why you ain't doing what I want to do? We got to all agree. We don't all got it. We ain't going to never all agree.
Hey, DVP, let them know who you are, man. Let them know about your show, too, man. He got his own show. In case y'all didn't know, the guy can talk. He don't have guests on his show. So y'all see why, though.
Cause y'all, guess what? April gonna be on my show and she gonna tell you how good a time she had. Now, I got a show called Random Thoughts with DVP, and the crazy thing is my friends talked me into it because I knew so much as a cop, and he's like, you need to share this information. You need to tell us the real workings and not the stuff that we want to hear or not the stuff that we don't understand. And that became my little focus, was talking about things that I knew more about or giving a different perspective, because sometimes we don't like the truth. We like what we want to hear. I mean, people say, oh, all cops is bad, and they get mad and say, well, is the guy who was in a family with a rapist, are all of them bad? We don't know all the bad cops. Bad cops ain't doing shit in front of me. Hell, I was labeled a bad cop because I hung around with Robert them.
Oh, let's start that.
I'm just saying, Robert, I told you I got suspended for playing football with y'all because I played with a group of felons, so they automatically we're playing football. But according to them, no shit, Robert, I got 12 days for playing with Soul Pro.
Wow.
There's a rule against hanging out with convicted felons. No shit, didn't know it. I only got them back because there was convicted felons in the sheriff's department who had rank, and I found out because I did some research. So they gave my 12 days back with back pay. But seriously, we just have to get better. We have to all take an approach They talk about multiple streams of income. We got to do multiple streams of attack, multiple streams of getting better. Everybody can take one something. We can be a group. Everybody take one something, take it to your crowds, and send them wherever the best information is. I done had a couple of turns on my shows. I had to just mute their mic because they started talking crazy. They started talking crazy. Oh, we need the police to do that. Well, if you know that ain't gonna happen, don't say that. Come on, let's come up with something realistic. When I put the little 90-day plan, there's a lot of things that police chiefs and sheriffs can do tomorrow. We can make things better so that when you get pulled over, y'all don't panic, because you can't take. Hell, I'm a former cop. When I see that light behind me, I panic. I done had cops chase me. I was panicky. But does it mean all cops are bad? Nope. It just means I was panicking. And a couple of times I was actually wrong, but that's a whole nother story. but at some point we have to have honest conversations. April was speaking honest. There's some things that we would love to happen, but realistically they're not going to happen. So why would April sit back and say, yeah, this needs to be one of the things we push for? If something ain't going to happen in the next 30 years, that shouldn't even be on our agenda. That shouldn't even be on our agenda. We need to be looking at stuff that we can affect in the next 30, 90 days. With depression, we can start getting people out. Hell, I'm doing mine. I'm doing, what is it, cyber? I'm having cyber appointments now. It's good in the beginning to meet face to face because I need to validate them. I think if I would have started like this, it wouldn't have worked for me. I think Jermaine said it worked for him though. But for me, it wouldn't have worked to do it a teleconference first, because I need to see you. I need to feel you out. If I'm gonna start spilling my soul to you and what I'm going through, I need to have some kind of connection with you. But yeah, we gotta stop. We gotta stop thinking about 35 years from now. I need for us to, like I said, what can we do by the end of the year?
You said something that we've said before too. I've been saying this a lot, is that we have to learn how to control the narrative. Of course, we have a slight restriction because they could ban our videos, and I see people who are putting out amazing content. I'm talking about amazing content, and they be in Facebook jail for 30 days. They don't even say anything wrong. But we have to utilize the platforms that we have to consistently change the narrative, because the narrative is going to be reparations. The narrative is going to be police reform, even though I think police reform could happen, but it's a process with that too. But the fact that you're talking about the mental health aspect of it, and what can happen and things like that, and even the steps you said that can happen with the police department and things like that, that stuff we can control on the local level.
Right.
But if people don't go to city council meetings, if people ain't talking to they can brag about being cool with their mayors, but if they ain't saying nothing about it, it doesn't mean anything. But to me, little stuff like this, it does matter, and it needs to be spoken on and it needs to be said, but people just have to put action behind it. Like I keep talking about with the symbolism of all the shit we see out there. Fuck symbolism. We need action. I don't care how things look. What exactly are you doing about it? And they can't say that the funding ain't there, because once again, that's been thrown out the window for whatever we want right now. If you can create $3 trillion out of thin air, you can find money for whatever programs that we need.
$5 trillion.
My bad.
But the thing is, what we don't ever ask for, and I put this on my plan, whenever we get police chiefs, they don't have to share their budget with us. Show me where the money is going. And the more importantly, tell me how much money you're spending on use of force complaints and how much you're paying back to officers that you fired illegally. That's where a shitload of their money is going. But nobody talks about this because we never asked them to share this. The civil rights attorney, whose name I won't call because I can't stand it, he never asked any of these questions about funding. And this is how you can get some of that money back. But if an agency, APD, is paying out damn near $5 million a year for illegally firing officers when they could have just waited and fired them the right way, because the officers that shot that guy, they're going to get their money back because they should have never been fired like that. There's a process. When you usurp the process to try to make people happy, it costs everybody who live in Atlanta is going to be paying the cost of them officers they got to fire back, because that's what civil suits do. It locks up your money. So when you don't get services and you don't know why, because ain't nobody going to tell you, it's because APD is paying out money for that. Cause that lawsuit money still come from a general insurance fund. But who pay that fund? Taxpayers pay that. And this is some of the information that we have to start demanding so that we can see who's competent or not. The little bullshit police chief, in Minnesota, who was out there with the people marching, He didn't change damn policy. He didn't ban the chokehold, but he's sitting there crying, talking about, when I saw it, I was repulsed. Hold on, you promoted that man. I did the research. You promoted that man. You made him a training officer. He already had 20 complaints. So what the fuck were you doing? But now you out there crying all kumbaya with the people and they falling for it. But you got to hold these people accountable. You got to hold these people accountable. You are the police chief. His folder didn't just pop up with them 42 complaints. 20 of them was when he got 20 of them since you've been there. Yeah. So you firing him, he gonna get his money back for something that you said it's okay for him to teach. Because in Minnesota, the chokehold, that knee on the back thing, it's legal. It was legal. So you fire him for something that you made legal under your watch? How he gonna get his money back? And then all of us gonna be mad because we don't know to look at the policy that made this all legal. So there was nothing that technically he did illegal. I looked through the whole little dumbass policy. It says let's kill people in my mind. But we look at the optics and we don't know the inside, which is why we need the Aprils. You need guys like me who can go in and look at policies and say, this is why this is legal. Even though it's wrong, the system made it okay. The system made it okay. You guys live in Atlanta. When Red Dog first came out, 90% of what they did was illegal. The time was okay because we were going through a crack epidemic. But Red Dog couldn't exist in this day and age. Everything Red Dog did was abusive. Everything. But because of the crime, we didn't care because it was so bad. And this is what we have to start looking at. What makes this legal? Is it department head or is the officer bad? And that's why people say, why you always defending officers? Because if you train me in a bad system, I'm not the bad guy. You're the bad guy for letting the system exist. I'm only doing what the policy says. And we don't, and I say we don't attack police chiefs. And I want to stay on the subject of suicide and depression. And we don't know how many police are depressed because you get one mental health exam when you first get there to make sure that you ain't going to abuse your power. But they don't check to see if you're mentally stable. They don't check. I know this because, hell, I work with some of them. Those people I can see, but I can't tell you what they do because I see that, hey, something wrong with that dude because you do the eye test. They go over here to somewhere else. They part of the elite crew or they people's favorite. And I never see them again. And that's why, when people say, why don't you say something? What can I say? I don't know. When I saw him that one time, he looked crazy. What did he do? Well, he didn't do shit other than look crazy. There's nothing I can do about that. So when we dealing with depression and it's prevalent. You can remember, you talking about me now being depressed before I became a cop. And then I do 3 death. I walk up on 3 death scenes. I see kids that are murdered or raped. All this is playing into my depression. When a cop goes to a call and a child is raped, you know what they got to do after he leave that call? Go do a traffic stop. He don't even get time to decompress. So we're creating his depression now. Even if he went before, we're sending him on bad call after bad call after bad call, and he don't have anybody to talk to. We just telling the man up and get over. You're a cop. You know what you signed up for. How does that happen? So he gets that PTSD depression, but it's depression nonetheless, and it's never addressed. And then I send him out on the street with you, and you're the trigger now. The minute you turn around him and ask him a question, all these little other things have built up. What's the treatment? Whose fault is that? And it's a perpetual system. Everybody's gonna have it.
But Darren and April, when y'all have y'all show together, I want to listen to this shit. And I'm saying that I'm being real because
I got your name now. I got your name, so you good.
For everybody that's watching this show, y'all have to understand the dynamic of what's going on right now. You have a former cop who's real, and you have a criminal defense attorney who's real. The content they can put out there is amazing. Because you're hearing it from both sides, but they're gonna be real about it. They're not gonna sugarcoat shit. Take advantage of that. And I would suggest you definitely follow Just Us Junkie and whatever show Darren got, listen to it. And if and when they do something together, you want to hear that conversation because those are the conversations that we won't hear at all.
Exactly. Like I said, Darren, you give another perspective, man, that people really ain't never heard, man. You know what I'm saying? You almost make me cry, man. You know.
Hey man, I need you to man up. Don't be tearing up on me.
Hey, but look, man, you came with the real today, man. I appreciate it, man. You know, and you gave another perspective for like cops, what you just said. Ain't nobody never heard this side. Nobody's never heard a cop speak like this, a former cop speak like this, and
Yeah,
what may be going through the psyche of cops who are out on the streets, you know?
Yeah.
Well, like I
Yeah.
say,
So,
I
Jermaine,
go ahead.
Go ahead. You go ahead. You go ahead.
What Jermaine doing?
It's your show today anyway. Go ahead.
I'm listening.
I never had liked you, but seriously, you know. And my thing is, and that's why I made a concentrated effort to be on your show once you said it was going to be about depression. I had something to do, but I was like, no, I need to be on this one because it's one of the things I've chosen to speak up about. Because people are like, no, not you, and I'm like, why not me? What does depression actually look like? What does it look like? I mean, what you want me to be drunk and slobbering and not speaking English? What does it look like? You know, we can still be coherent. We can still do everything. We are, and I would say, oh, I'm gonna keep it 100. I was lying my ass off. My life was nowhere close to perfect, but it was my job not to let anybody see that. And this is what people need to understand. Truly, people who are going through clinical depression, they are the best actors in the world. Every day I woke up, I should have had a Grammy and an Emmy because nobody was knowing. Nobody. And that's your goal in life. So this is what it looked like. As my man said, who knew Robin Williams was depressed? Funny ass dude making millions of money. He got this, he got that. Boom. But he left a clue. There are other ones who did it, and they all left clues. Everybody just missed it because they didn't want to accept the fact that this person may be, and more importantly, they didn't want to be the one to have to try to console this person. Because don't nobody want to be sad with the funny man. People just want us to entertain them or keep them feeling good. So now, if I'm your one of my nephews said, "Man, I never knew you were depressed." I look at you differently now. You still ain't called me though. Still ain't called me. I put my help message on there because I actually had that day. My brother was the only somebody who called me. I put it on Facebook. I deleted it now, but I put it on Facebook. I was at rock bottom. Boom. Did my little 5-word message. He popped up on me. That's one of my jobs. Changed my whole perspective. Just something as simple as that. He didn't call it, but he called when he was outside because he needed to get in. But that was it. And we got to be prepared for that. We got to know how to reach out to people. We got to stop being such sexual and call sometimes. Hey, but what's going on with you? I seen your video. You was looking a little sad. That tell me something, girl. Don't make me come to Chicago. You know what? April gonna smile and she gonna feel like somebody care. I call I ain't gonna smile and feel like somebody care. These are the things we got to get in the habit of doing. That text, we grown people. That texting ain't what worked for us. You want to know that somebody cares.
I can't say you right, D, because the man check on me and Fitz definitely check on me. Y'all from every morning to call me on break. I might be busy, but Robert definitely he check. I see him all the time in the neighborhood. But Jerome be checking on me. He be like, yo man, what's up? Hey. And then Jerome, Fitz gonna hit me with video. He on my Facebook, like all throughout the Facebook. I can't think that. So he gonna tag me. I'm gonna get some knowledge.
Hey, but I ain't checking on you. I ain't gonna check on you.
What? That's why you froze.
He ain't pay his metro.
The reason why you froze, because y'all don't like ugly.
Hey, that's that negativity. That's that negativity.
That's that negativity that froze right up on his live show, on our live show.
He banned from his own show. Ain't that nothing?
So,
but yeah, I mean,
but way out of line.
But that's what we got to do. And fellas, let me say this because April is here. Fellas, we can't be scared when we find that one woman to give her some insight. One of my friends who I talk to regularly is depressed. And he was like, man, how do you do it? I said, I've learned to tell my wife certain words to let her know. Because once people know, they're scared to ever let you be alone. So you kind of lose your privacy. You got to make promises, blood oaths. But, there are times when I need something. And, when I know they're coming, I give her the code word. You know what she does? She does anything I want then. Because I have to let her know when I'm not myself. And I know that I'm not myself. Because I don't want to just be snapping at her or she say the wrong thing and push me. But this is one of those things I had to learn to address within myself. And when people say, well, how do you navigate this? Well, you got to let your woman know, hey, babe, this is what's going on. When I'm like this is who I am. This is what I need from you. What I don't need from you to do is to keep asking me what's wrong. I will talk when I'm ready. What I need for you to do is let me lay my head on your stomach. Let me just be quiet and play it. Rub my head, rub my shoulder. Let me know that I'm safe. It sounds like the girl move, but yeah, let me be the girl for a minute. I need to feel I need to feel like somebody is gonna cater to me. I need to feel like I need that hug. I don't want to be the hugger. I need to be the huggy. And you have to let your woman know this. And women can't be afraid to ask that question without name calling. Just accept the fact that sometimes he is not the alpha that you want him to be. He needs his time off where he doesn't have to be a superhero. Let me just be Clark Kent. Let me feel sad for a few minutes. I promise it's gonna go away if you just, hold me. Just read a book, but just let me lay my head on your shoulder. Let me just get a comfortable position and let me know that you're right there. But don't ask me what's wrong with me. Don't ask me what can you do. Just let it flow organic. Because if you ask me that, it agitates me.
This is gonna be. I know we probably getting ready to end the show. This is gonna be my part. This is gonna be my part and shot based on what Darren just said, and he touched on something that actually happened to me. I dealt with my uncle who died, and he was like Superman to me. Then a couple weeks, my cousin had died, and when all of this happened, I also went through a breakup. It was like everything. But it was really the uncle and the cousin, because these are both my supermen, and you don't think anything can happen to them. And I needed exactly what he said. There's a picture that I posted on my page of a dude laying on a female in between her legs. He was fully clothed, and he was just hugging her. That's exactly what I had needed, because I just wasn't, I wasn't getting that. And it was just the moment that I had. And I approached a particular female about that, saying I needed that from her. Mind you, we didn't know each other like that. I just knew of her. I saw her, and she accepted it. And when I posted that picture, I had a female, a friend of mine, who we share the same birthday. She said, most men can't do that. They're not willing to admit and be that vulnerable. It just doesn't happen that way. And I was just saying to myself, I don't think that way because I know how I am. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to say whatever, how I feel, and it doesn't matter. But it's crazy when you really think about it that most men, they won't. Because the one person you're supposed to be vulnerable with like that is your significant other. As far as us, it's going to be our women, because women, if they're going to be vulnerable, it's cool. But the flip side of that is we generally don't know how to handle a woman being vulnerable. Me, I'm just a firm believer when that happens, you be there for them. You that shoulder to cry on. You ain't got to give your opinion and everything like that, because sometimes I learned, I grew up in a house full of women. I know when certain women start talking, just shut the fuck up. Don't say nothing. Just don't say shit, because that makes it easier. But at times, you do have to say something. But I would just say, for all the dudes out there, do not be afraid to be vulnerable with your woman. If they are a real nurturer and that person, believe me, you fine, and they're gonna take care of you.
All right, man. Appreciate that, man. All right, who next? Let's go to April. What's your part and shot, April? You've been quiet lately. So I know you got DVP taking up a lot of time. I know you.
My parting comment. Like I said, I think this is a really powerful topic, and I'm glad that you guys were brave enough to tackle it, because it does take bravery to be vulnerable. Just like you just said, it takes bravery to be vulnerable like that with a woman. It definitely takes bravery to be like that in a public forum and talk about a subject that is considered pretty taboo. So, and I think that we just got to get to the point where we lift the stigma. I mean, brothers aren't the only ones dealing with this. For women, a lot of times it becomes, oh girl, you're not depressed, you just need to pray. Like, you just go pray it all away. Yeah. And I think that is a stigma in our community, that depression or sadness is akin to weakness. And that's where we get stuck. That's why we lose the people that we do to suicide. That's why they feel like they can't turn to anyone, because we've labeled people who get that depressed as weak. We see it as giving up, not having the willpower, not being strong enough, when it has nothing to do with that. Like you said earlier, hey, depression ends automatically when you end your life. And so people see it as an end to the pain. But like I just said, I want to just commend you guys for taking this topic on, and hope the conversation continues, because this is going to really impact a lot of men who maybe are not as comfortable having this conversation with their friends or with their women or with their, loved ones, to hear all of you all have an open dialogue about it is gonna be a really big deal.
All right, April, we appreciate you for coming to the show. This is the Overflow to Everyday People show. So this ain't my show. This everybody's on the show. So I'm just a moderator. I'm just in the way, really. You see how DVD took over? You know what I'm saying? It's your show.
Let me continue on my parting shot.
Oh, you gave your parting shot, man. Be quiet.
God damn that. For everybody out there, I said before that we all need to make sure that we support once a week a business owned by us. I challenge every single person out there to go buy one of those Trials and Triumph games from the Justice Junkie page. I challenge you because it ain't about the money. It's about the information. And the biggest thing about doing that is most people stuck in the house any damn way. Play the game with your children. I guarantee you'll see a change.
And her website is in the comments section. Go look at it. Go holler at April, y'all. Holler at her when you see her in the streets. Who next? TB, where you at, man? You ready to say something, bro?
Yeah, I just want to thank all y'all. Like about 3 weeks ago, I was on the show. We made a plea about my project that I was doing, and I got 7 days of good footage, and I want to thank all those that supported the project. We're not through, continuing on. So I just want to thank. I haven't been back on since you was on, and I just want to thank you guys. And man, y'all, it was a powerful show tonight too.
I appreciate it, brothers. Thank you for coming on, man. Right. Who next, man? Jermaine, what you doing over there, man? You watching the game or something?
Yeah, I was peeping the game for a second.
Who winning, man?
Boston winning by 3. Yeah, that's my team. Anyway, it was a good show, great topic, something that needed to be had, and and like Charisma said, I reached out to him. I just met him through this show. And, when you meet people with like mind, it seems like the same with you. Me and you, we go back and forth on the comments.
Hey man, put your web page in the comment too, man. About what you doing, your shirts and stuff like that, your clothes and stuff. I still got to get my shirt, man.
Okay, I sure will. But yeah, man, just check on each other, man. Don't be afraid to, talk about anything that you're going through. We all in this together. So, we all just hit us up. Hit me up.
All right, bro. Appreciate it, man. Go get you that game, man. Go on, log off and get you your game.
Nah.
Black man, what's up, man? What you got?
I just want to say the show was really good, man. It was an eye opener because like I said, I dealt with that for years and kind of was still dealing with it. But I'm pretty good now. I'm all right now. I mean, I can. It's I don't know. I'm good. I'll be all right. But it's just a lot of those things I talked about. It kind of brought some things back, especially when I was dealing with police. Like the corrupt police that I dealt with throughout my life. And I'm not even a bad person, but like you said, some police are trained to agitate and irritate instead of help. And that didn't bring a lot of my pressure. A lot of my pressure came from just trying to survive the city, man, and stuff. I had a tough dad, but it taught me to be kind of strong too at the same time. But I deal with it differently. Like I said, I shop or I skate or I do other stuff, read my books, I collect stuff. But it was good, man. I mean, DVP, he took over and he did a good. He narrated everything pretty good, and I appreciate all y'all. April, I appreciate you too, coming on the show. And Chicago Blackhawks, my favorite hockey team.
All right, man. Who next, man? Oh, we know who next now. We know who next. He don't took my show, man. He don't took my show, man.
Hey, man.
Hey, man. Look, I want to personally appreciate you, man, for coming on, man. sharing some personal thoughts, man. Look, I know we giggle and we laugh a lot, man, but it's a real thing, man. I appreciate it, bro.
Hey,
Go
man,
ahead,
like I said,
get your comments, man.
when you said the topic, man, I had something to do, but I had to rearrange my schedule because this is one that's really personal and sensitive to me. So I'm gonna get with April because my thing is still I want to get this police stuff done, and I gotta educate people on what needs to be done and how they can make change. So I'm gonna see if April and Fuquan can get with me next Monday. We're gonna do a show. I might even let you come, Robert. I don't know yet. But like I said, I do my show on Wednesdays. I'm gonna do a show tomorrow about real men and relationships and being a dad. To understand the whole process, we got to let go of this macho shit and this submission thing where we avoid good relationships. So I got some brothers. We're gonna discuss that. Robert, feel free to come on since you married. I know you ain't running shit.
Hey, man, you don't never send me no invite. Like I send your invite every week. You don't send me no invite because you know what? Because you won't do your show by yourself.
Okay, Robert, you send me my invites on Facebook. I send invites to your phone. See, that's the difference. I had your phone number. I reached out to you personally.
Man, we ain't gonna argue on national TV, man. You know we worldwide, man.
This was my outro. You interrupted me. But for real, anytime I can help a brother telling my story, man, I realize that it's more important for me to be vulnerable to other brothers than to be caught up in my own image and my ego and not say nothing. And it took a minute because I hate talking about it because I know I'm gonna tear up and I don't want to tear up. But it's just one of them things that when I talk about it, I realize everything I've done or did just comes flooding back. But it's more important to other people than it is to me now. So
I'm here for you, bro.
That's what's up. I'm gonna do a couple of more shows on it because I got some people, and one of the things that people don't realize is, and I found 3 people, is we don't even deal with survivors of depression. That's a whole nother level of people that know everybody think about the person who killed themselves when they commit suicide, but they don't think about the people who got left behind or the people that found the body. That's a whole nother level of guilt they go through because they didn't answer their first call. And it's like, I should have knew this was my friend. They called me and asked me if I had a minute, and I told them I'll call them back, and I never called them back, and boom. That's a hard thing, and nobody's ever there for them. So I got some stuff coming, Fool, I appreciate everything you're doing, Fool, but hey man, let's stay in touch and get some things going. I'm in trouble now. The wife want me to come eat. I'm messing around with you, so I ain't in divorce court with Judge Toller or whoever. I'm gonna run out. I'm gonna put my number in the chat, man. If y'all ever want to talk or want to meet up, shoot pool or whatever, let me know, man. I keep some Kleenex and some tissue with just in case, because sometimes I have onions in them. So if you see a tear, it's the onions. It's
you're gonna have everybody crying, man.
Oh no.
Hey man, but come appreciate it. Appreciate you coming through, sharing your story, man. But I would have never known myself, man. So now I approach you different. I can't be hard on you no more now.
I'm still gonna give you a ticket.
I believe that's why you did.
I'm
you want me to go soft on you. I'm still gonna go hard on you, bro.
I'm gonna still give you a ticket. I got a ticket, but with just your name on it. Just your name.
Hey man, appreciate it though, man.
I appreciate it.
Falcons lost.
Hey man, all right, bye. You can bye.
All right, y'all. Good night.
All right, man. Hey, I want to personally thank everybody for tuning in today to Overflow, the Everyday People Show. And don't forget, y'all can come on, talk trash all you want to. We could chop it up on here on anything. If y'all got a subject matter y'all want to talk about, inbox me. We can make it happen, y'all. But until then, I want y'all to stay safe and think about those who are going through things. Reach out to people. Reach out to your loved one. Reach out to your friend, your family. If you think they're going through it, just call them and just say, hey, how you doing? I was thinking about you. It's something that small can wake people out of what they're going through. But until then, I want y'all to stay safe and get ready for better days, y'all. Better days are always on the way, y'all. Peace.
Let's chop it up.
Sometimes I wonder where you are, and if you can change my heart, 'cause it feels like I'm alone in the dark, trying to seek out for some help. I don't know where to start. Trying to figure out which way to go. Trying to do the best I can with what I know. I'm seeking for guidance. Trying to get right to find. Sometimes I wonder why things end up the way they do. Yeah. But when I look in the sky, I feel the presence of you. And even when my skies turn gray, I know I'll be okay. I keep on telling myself that this will be a better day. I've been trying to encourage myself. Though truth be told, I've been needing some help. I'm tired of putting my heart on the shelf. Lord, I've been away, been needing your help. 'Cause I can't do it by myself. Been up and down, been trying to find help. Find help, trying to find help. That's why I come to you, Lord. Trying to figure out which way to go. Trying to do the best I can with what I know. I'm seeking for guidance. Trying to get right to find. You have picked me up when I was down. When I was down, you have turned my frown into a smile. That's why I have better days. 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 Sometimes I wonder why things end up the way they do. Yeah. When I look in the sky, I feel the presence of you. And even when my skies turn gray, I know I'll be okay. Keep on telling myself that this will be a better day. Sometimes I wonder why things end up the way they do. Why? Hey, look up in the sky. Presence of you. And even when my skies turn gray, I know I'll be okay. Yeah. Keep on telling myself that this is just hold on. Things will get better if you keep the faith. I know things will get better.